It's June, which means that Fancy Forest Sudley is almost here, and it also means that for us organizers, this is the busiest period of the year. So this could be the most stressful behind the fantasy. But without a joke, June is the busiest month that we've got at Fancy Forest, other than the actual build-up. In fact, June can get so busy that the upcoming weeks will probably be doing around 40 hours a week of Fancy Forest work, on top of the 40 hours that we're doing for our day jobs. You might just think that all that wine is for stress drinking. I promise you, it's not. There was a discount. But in truth, we are very busy right now, which also means I am probably going to drop a couple of things in this vlog because, well, we do need to make sure that we've got a festival. But June is all about crossing T's and keeping an eye on deadlines, which are now very important because if we deliver, say, an artwork too late, it won't be there in time for the festival. It's also the month of meetings, as you'll soon notice throughout this vlog. So yeah, June is nothing but meetings and emails, which isn't the most interesting content for a vlog. So let's talk about something that might be more interesting to you, which is the Fantasy Forest lore. Now, even if you've been going to the festival for quite some time, you might now be thinking, what do you mean, Fantasy Forest lore? And that wouldn't be too surprising because the lore has taken a bit of a backseat. Despite this, the lore has been all around us. When you look at the logo and Lottie, they are actually creatures from our lore. Even these sparkles you can see all over our designs have a place in our lore. The origin story of Fancy Forest and the base for our lore was written in 2018, and it was even used as the foundation for our very first promo video, which you can find linked in the description. And the original idea was to expand on the story every single year, possibly even with live elements at the festival's year, and that way the story would grow as the festival would grow. And as you'll know, the road to what Fancy Forest is today wasn't easy. So in order to survive, we never really focused on the lore because, well, we had bigger issues. We did try to integrate it a bit more in 2024 when we started the Explorer's Journal, because the original idea of this Explorer Journal was to have live actors perform as NPCs. But again, we just didn't have the time to fully execute this, and the Explorer Journal just remained a simple stamp booklet. But with a new festival come new opportunities. Libertalia has a brand new start, and we hope that through this new start, we can finally start introducing some of the ideas we had 8 years ago. The eagle-eyed among you might have noticed that our merch calls Libertalia the first chapter. And this is going to be the annual concept for Libertalia. So with Sudley, we've got the animal of the year, and with Libertalia, it's going to be chapters because we are telling a story. The first chapter is called A New Beginning, and every year will have its own title. Of course, we need to tell a story, and that's where the Tales of Fantasy come in. The Tales of Fantasy will continue the story of Fancy Forest every single year. How we're exactly going to do this will be talked about in the next Behind the Fantasies, which is coming out the day after Libertalia. And we'll go in depth behind the fantasy of the Tales of Fantasy, so keep an eye out for that one. We are still looking at other elements that we can implement to make this more interactive. We do have a couple of ideas, but we're going to keep those secrets for now. Some of you might have also noticed that at Sudley, it's no longer the Royal Stage, but the Royal Theatre. And this is also something that is in line with the lore. Basically, what we are going to do is change all the names that we've got to be a bit more immersive. Now, not all the changes are implemented for Sudley, but they will be implemented for Libertalia, and Sudley will follow next year. So you won't be talking about the Dragon Stage anymore. Instead, you'll be talking about Dragon's Nest. It's one of those tiny details we feel goes a long way in creating the realm of Fancy Forest instead of a Fancy Forest festival. Now, something that's rarely talked about is social media, but social media is very important in this day and age for festivals, and we take our social media quite serious. In fact, when you look at a draft schedule, you can see that, well, it's packed. Now, a schedule didn't always used to look like that. In fact, it used to be quite empty until just a couple of weeks before the festival. Now, some of you might know from the first Behind the Fantasies, I decided to focus a bit more on Fancy Forest, which allowed us to be more consistent with our social media posting. And after Sudley, we actually got someone who is going to help me even more with this. Because don't be mistaken, social media takes a lot of time and effort. From editing the videos for TikTok, to making graphics for the announcements, to actually bringing the concept of the draft schedule into the actual platforms, because this is just a draft schedule, right? Basically, this calendar right here is constantly changing. As we all know at this point, organizing a festival requires a lot of flexibility, and that goes exactly the same for our social media scheduling. For example, we are planning to release the map in 2 days' time, but at the moment, that map is not finished yet, so we might need to switch things around. Across all of our social media platforms, we are posting almost daily at this point. And from start to finish, that takes around 5 to 6 hours a week. And that doesn't even include responding to all of your messages on our social media. So yeah, I am really happy that we've got an extra hand on board next year, because the amount of content that we've been putting out in the past 2 months is insane. And I can't do that on my own. June is always a stressful month because, well, it's the final month before we head to Sully Castle. There is just some things that we need to get done before we leave, and there's some things that we can do while we're still there. So we always make a list of things that we need to prioritize, and when we look at the list, it's always daunting. In fact, when I started this month, I was behind on things, and somehow I've caught up. I've finished my briefings, I finished the production map, everything that needs to be printed has gone to the printer today. I pushed out a major update for the app, which means that essentially everything I need to do before I travel to Sully Castle has been done. So right now I'm just putting some finishing touches, like populating the app, because at the moment I am receiving a lot of information from everybody of stuff that they want in the app. So just yesterday I uploaded all the activities to the app, which is a shocking 140 or something like that. And at the moment, as you can see, I am working on the catering. Surprisingly, not all the stores have given me their menus yet, so not everything might be in the app. And don't worry, this isn't sweat. I've just taken a shower. It's actually a comfortable 26 degrees in here at the moment, even though outside, well, it's kind of warm. At an outdoor festival, we love good weather, but I hope we don't get this 39 degrees. And obviously, I'm not the only one with this sentiment, because, well, it's time for the Ask Us Almost Anything. And it wasn't just one question about the weather, we've got two of them, with the most liked being what will happen if we have a repeat of this red weather warning for heat the weekend of the event. As a festival in the middle of the summer, we've got heat plans. In fact, since the Great Storm, we've got plans for every type of weather. It's also not the first time we've dealt with over 30 degrees during the festival, so we are prepared for this. And as festival organizers, we also looked at how other festivals approach the heat wave, which surprisingly is not very unlike things we are already doing. Unfortunately, that's the behind the fantasy for this month, because we're just too busy. I don't even have the time, and probably the others don't have the time for an interview either. There's also not going to be a behind the fantasy in July, because obviously it's Fantasy for Sully time. So we'll be going back to our regular build-up vlogs that you've seen over the past years, and hopefully I'll see you at Fantasy for Sully.